Well, we all have dreams. My name is Tuta Mionki. I'm a HR consultant on the side and for fun and to basically reset. I do motorsport. I'm a co-driver and I've done that for about 11 years now. As a child, my father was interested as a fan in motorsport. Back in the days when the WRC was here, and I remember it was April, every Easter, and between March and April would be taken to watch cars. Then I later met people who were interested in motorsport as fans, and we decided the best way to see the country and enjoy the sport was to follow each rally, whether it was in Kilifi, Kisumu, Mombasa, wherever it went. Then one of the fans in my traveling group said, I would really love to do this one day. And I was like, me too, like I've actually been thinking about it. And because I knew Charles Hinga, who's a family friend and was racing at the time, just got talking and he guided me on where to start and how he got involved in the sport. And he told me you can actually be a co-driver and guided me to the Abdul Sidi Rally Academy. He does it for free as a way of giving back. Abdul is known as Patrick NJIRU's co-driver, among other drivers. So he does free teaching for co-drivers. I went to the class I wanted to go in 2009, got involved in a road accident, which took me off a lot of things, including work, for a while. And then in 2010, I joined his classes. I did that for about a year. The learning never stops, even 11 years later. I remember we were watching a rally in Ngong when we talked about it in 2009. And after that, I got into the accident in August when I fractured my arms. In 2010, I don't even know if I was fully recovered, but in 2010 I started the classes, learned how to read pace notes, learned what the timing system was, learned how to keep time, because that's one of the roles of a co-driver is to keep time. And in February of 2012, Eric and I were invited to do route opening in the NJIRU rally. And that was my first real attempt in being a co-driver in a rally. And then the next month, which was March, there was the Nakuru rally. Victor Kundi was a previous co-driver, started driving and was looking for a co-driver. He called Abdul and Abdul recommended me, and yeah, the rest, as they say, is history. He took a Vitz and built it into rally specs, and we had a lot of fun in that car. We would take a jump and we'd laugh. I think that's the most fun I've had in a rally car, to be honest. Yeah, it was a small car. We sometimes would not believe what it's done. Like after a rally, we'd look at the route full of rocks and we came out. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. We did that for 2 seasons, yeah, 2012 and 2013. Yeah. My first safari rally finish was with Victor in the Vitz, so that's important. Yeah. Of course, first you're in awe, like you're meeting a real star, you know. And the fact that he's so kind in giving of his time and knowledge, I thought that, like, this is really great. We did not pay anything for that. There are very few people who do that. I think he was able to negotiate with some facilities like JP Cutting in Langata and Gara Sports Club to be able to hold the classes there, and where we ever needed to pay something, it would be as little as 200 just to ensure that it continues happening. My favorite number, I love number 1 because of winning. I mean, I always want to come first, but I have a special bond with 21 and 4 because of my birth date. Yeah. When we talk about the Pearl of Africa rally in Uganda, I've not seen a bigger rally fan base than the Uganda rally fan base. It's huge, they are passionate, even if it means walking kilometers, they will walk, and the crowds are huge, and they cheer you on. It's a really special atmosphere when you rally in Uganda. When you go to rally in Zambia, the organization bit of it, very, very organized. It's important to eat, and I love my food. I remember also that for us is that when we rallied there during Recce, the organizers told us when to take a break and just open their vehicles, and it was full of food. like this is lunch, but also very organized in the way they do things. Rwanda is just a beautiful country, and with a beautiful history and very clean. It's very organized. It's something to learn from each country other than just rallying. When I see, I think they're both equally hard to drive, but I think the work that the excavator does, at least from where I see it from, I think it looks like it's a very difficult thing. And I've seen recently some ladies doing that, so like I'm very excited to understand more of what they do, but it looks very difficult. In general, I think corruption is killing everything, all aspects, whether it's education, whether it's sports, whether it's there's that. The other thing that is really disturbing it is gender-based violence and young, talented people being killed. I mean, for no reason or for whatever reason, it's not right. You're losing talent, and that talent is really, when you look at the economy, adds value. There's value to the person, the family, and the country as a whole. But just the unnecessary loss of human life should really end. And the big thing is just general respect, whether it's respect for another human being, respect for yourself. You see people fighting in hotels and it's public news, and I mean, man hitting a woman or even the other way around is not something that should be happening. But even general respect for the environment. You walk around and there are bottles and papers and things that are thrown around. So those are some of the things that I would really wish people would change. Just if you have respect, I think that should solve a lot of problems here. Helen Shui and I and another lady came together and decided we need to form Women in Motorsport Kenya. We decided to form the committee that will encourage more girls to join the sport. Just even if it's just answering their questions, and we've now started doing online programs. We formed a full committee in 2020, and unfortunately, when we started discussing the programs, then COVID came and halted a lot of things. So this year we've had at least 2 webinars with the Safari Rally back in Kenya as part of the WRC. There's of course a lot of interest. And when you go there, you meet a lot of ladies who want to take part as competitors or volunteers and want to know how to get into it. And that's what we've been guiding them on how to do that. We are looking out for programs for the young girls in either karting or autocross, international programs. And because Helen now is part of the International Women in Motorsport Committee, then at least she's closer to where the action is. If there's an international program and we have the young girls like Kiana, who's 8 years old, or anybody else, then we can make sure that they're part of that program. We've also been able to attend the International Women in Motorsport forums to just guidance on how we can run our local Women in Motorsport programs. We are seeing more girls right now in autocross, young girls, 8 years old, 9, 10, and how can we ensure that they transition to rallying because rallying you have to be 18, you need a DL in this country to be able to rally. Climbing Kilimanjaro, yeah. I've done Longono, Tabadeas. I'm yet to do Kenya still, but that was a moment. Seeing the sunrise from up there, because the last hike you start at around midnight or just before midnight, so that you meet the sun almost directly. Yeah, that was a huge moment. Almost didn't make it on the last day. I was sick and fatigued, and I think I had food poisoning, but the guide was telling me it's mountain sickness, so we didn't agree on what it was. Yes, Wamboi is another who reached out to me and told me that she has a son who's very interested in motorsport and kept talking about Lewis Hamilton. And so she asked him, do you know, have you ever heard of Patrick NJIRU? Of course he's young, so he says, who's that? And Tuta Mionki, and it's like, no. So she wrote the book to basically bring it closer home, especially for this generation that didn't experience that WRC back in the day. Maybe in the next few years we did back in the country, they'll be able to experience that. Then it's not just about Formula One and the Seboji and the people you watch, it's more people that you can identify with. And she actually took she was telling me she took the kids to watch the WRC, and now when they speak about rally and rally cars, it's more real. And of course the book she thought if my son is this interested and doesn't know about our local rally people, then there are many other children in that same space who I can introduce this to, and that's why she wrote the book. Very exciting book, yes. The systems should really basically be the same because we are guided by laws, labor laws and that kind of thing. But of course the dynamics are different. One, like I mentioned with Java, you're dealing with young people who really don't have a care in the world. You're straight from school at 19, and maybe before you've actually taken time to think about your career path, you decide to come and be a waitress. And Java, then really being that big chain, was very attractive for young people. And the fact that I would be called by a restaurant manager and say, 2 people didn't show up today. It meant better planning. Do you put people on standby? Do you have, because then of course numbers are very critical at that point. Then you go to a school like RIARA, pretty established, very, teachers who are very passionate, owners who are very passionate about education. Dr. Eda Gashuki, I think, is the most passionate educationalist that I've ever met, and who there was always something to learn, so keen on finding out why didn't this class perform well in the last exam, what resources do they need, and would sit and discuss those bits, and that for me was really, really eye-opening. So there are different dynamics when it comes to different industries, but HR is people and systems and ensuring your people are happy and they give the best to your clients. KBS, we are dealing with about 3,000 employees. I think that's the largest number of staff that I've ever had to deal with. I'll never forget about 2 guys who had done double maths in college and couldn't find jobs and came in to be trained as conductors. And I'm not saying conductors should not have their degrees and stuff. But then at that point, I kept seeing people who are saying, I can't find a job. And I did this in college, but there are no jobs. So can you train me? Then you're like, yeah, we could. And then you think, yeah, but let's look for a growth plan and where else can you go with time, yeah. So that was eye-opening for me, yeah. Yes, gosh, TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. And the funny thing is, I've been asked that in the last 2 days by 2 different people. Are you on TikTok? I'm like, no, I just see videos on Instagram. Maybe I need to discover it. But I actually find it funny that people will do dances and challenges and yeah. I see people dancing. I don't know what else people do with it.